Is Paul here yet? Uh-huh.
UK.
UK.
Ukulele.
Ukulele.
Euler.
Euler.
Glandular fever.
Tubular steel.
Ulcer.
Ulcer.
Stomach ulcers.
Ulcerate.
Ulcerate.
Ulnar.
Ulna.
Ulterior.
Ulterior.
He's just being nice. I don't think he has any ulterior motives.
Ultimate.
Ultimate.
Complete disarmament was the ultimate goal of the conference. Our ultimate objective is to have as many female members of Parliament as there are male.
The ultimate outcome of the experiment cannot be predicted.
The ultimate fate of the tribe was even sadder.
The ultimate failure of the project.
The ultimate responsibility for policy lies with the President.
The ultimate decision rests with the Public Health Service.
The Rolling Stones are the ultimate rock and roll band.
The female nude is surely the ultimate test of artistic skill.
The plane was the ultimate in air technology in the 60s.
Guy's home is the ultimate in luxury.
Ultimate fighting.
Ultimate fighting.
Ultimately.
Ultimately.
Ultimately, the decision rests with the child's parents.
A long but ultimately successful campaign.
Ultimatum.
Ultimatum.
The club gave him an ultimatum. Either he apologized or he would be expelled from the team. The army issued an ultimatum for all weapons in the city to be surrendered by October the 26th. Ultra.
Ultra.
An ultra-modern building. He remained ultra-cautious. An ultra-light jacket.
Ultrasound.
Ultrabook.
Ultrabook.
Ultramarine.
Ultramarine.
Ultraportable.
Ultraportable. Which are the best ultraportable laptops? Ultrasonic.
Ultrasonic.
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound.
Investigation of the liver by ultrasound.
An ultrasound scan revealed that the baby was a boy. Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet radiation from the sun.
Ultraviolet.
Ululate.
Ululate.
Yeah, I guess so.
Umami. Umami.
And ah.
And ah. He ummed and ahed a bit, but eventually agreed to help us.
Umber.
Umber.
Umbilical cord.
Umbilical cord.
All modern popular music has an umbilical cord linking back to blues and R&B.
Teenage boys especially feel a need to cut the umbilical cord, tying them to their mothers. Umbrage.
Umbrage.
Umbrella.
Umbrella.
It started to rain, so Tricia stopped to put up her umbrella.
I spent the day on the beach, lying under a beach umbrella reading.
District nurses, health visitors, and school nurses will come under the umbrella term community nursing.
The International Education Program came under the umbrella of the State Department.
The American nuclear umbrella over Western Europe.
Umlaut.
Umlaut.
Ump.
Ump.
Umpire.
Umpire.
Umpteen.
Umpteen.
There seem to be umpteen rules and regulations to learn.
She called the apartment umpteen times, but never got an answer.
They're screening The Wizard of Oz again for the umpteenth time. Umpteen.
Umpteenth.
This is crazy, she told herself for the umpteenth time.
Un.
Unfair.
Unhappy, unfortunately.
Uncertainty. To undress. Have you unpacked yet?
I heard Lila unlock the front door.
He's a bad 'un. I ought to collect the little uns from school.
UN.
UN.
Unabashed.
Unabashed.
She stared at him with unabashed curiosity.
Unabated.
Unabated.
The storm continued unabated throughout the night.
His unabated ambition.
Unable.
Unable.
Lucy was unable to find out what had happened.
Unable to sleep, I got up and made myself a drink.
Unabridged.
Unabridged.
The complete and unabridged works of Dickens. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
I found her attitude totally unacceptable.
Unacceptable levels of pollution.
The recommendations from this report are unacceptable to many black people.
It was socially unacceptable to discuss sex then.
Unemployment is unacceptably high.
Unaccompanied. Unaccompanied.
Unaccompanied children are not allowed on the premises. The airport x-rays all unaccompanied baggage.
Many large third world cities have arisen unaccompanied by national industrial growth.
Lizzie sang unaccompanied.
Works for unaccompanied violin.
Unaccountable.
Unaccountable.
The unaccountable shyness she always felt in Louise's presence.
For some unaccountable reason, he arrived a day early.
Doctors still remain largely unaccountable to the public.
Unaccountably.
Unaccountably.
Unaccountably, the woman had refused.
The planned military assault on the city yesterday was unaccountably delayed.
Unaccounted for.
Unaccounted for.
2 people are still unaccounted for after the floods.
Unaccustomed.
Unaccustomed.
A country boy, unaccustomed to city ways. She was completely exhausted by the unaccustomed heat.
Unacknowledged.
Unacknowledged.
Unacknowledged anger can often cause problems in later life.
Women's work in the home tends to be both unpaid and unacknowledged.
Unadorned.
Unadorned.
They like their churches to be unadorned.
Unadulterated.
Unadulterated.
A feeling of pure, unadulterated pleasure.
Unaffected.
Unaffected.
The North remained largely unaffected by the drought.
Her easy, unaffected manner.
Unafraid.
Unafraid.
She was exhausted, but unafraid.
The rats were huge and completely unafraid of human beings. A gifted writer who is unafraid of trying new things.
An independent woman unafraid to say what she believes.
Unaided.
Unaided.
She can no longer walk unaided.
Unalloyed.
Unalloyed.
Unalloyed joy.
Unalterable.
Unalterable.
An unalterable fact.
Unambiguous.
Unambiguous.
Un-American.
Un-American.
This kind of censorship is un-American.
Unanimity.
Unanimity.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
It was decided by a unanimous vote that the school should close.
The decision to appoint Matt was almost unanimous.
The banks were unanimous in welcoming the news.
Unannounced.
Unannounced.
We arrived unannounced.
Unanswerable.
Unanswerable.
The case for better public transport is unanswerable.
Unanswered.
Unanswered.
Many other questions remain unanswered.
The children's cries for help went unanswered.
Unanticipated.
Unanticipated.
An unanticipated increase in inflation.
Unapologetic.
Unapologetic.
He is entirely unapologetic about the violence in his movies.
Unappealing.
Unappealing.
An unappealing shade of grey.
Unappetizing.
Unappetizing.
A rather unappetizing egg sandwich. Unapproachable.
Unapproachable.
Unarguable.
Unarguable.
Unarguable proof.
Unarmed.
Unarmed.
The killing of unarmed civilians.
Unashamed.
Unashamed.
His unashamed love of money.
Unasked.
Unasked.
George sat down unasked.
Unasked for.
Unasked for.
Unasked for advice.
Unassailable.
Unassailable.
An unassailable argument.
The party's position looked unassailable.
The result gave the team an unassailable lead.
Unassuming.
Unassuming.
Unattached.
Unattached.
According to Joe, Mark was still unattached.
Unattainable.
Unattainable.
A military victory is unattainable.
Unattended.
Unattended.
An unattended vehicle.
Children should not be left unattended in the playground.
Unattractive.
Unattractive.
An unattractive man.
The unattractive aspects of nationalism.
Unauthorized.
Unauthorized.
The unauthorized use of government funds.
Unauthorized personnel are not allowed on the premises.
Unavailable.
Unavailable.
Funding for the new school is unavailable.
Materials that were unavailable to researchers in the past.
Officials were unavailable for comment.
Unavailing.
Unavailing.
Unavailing efforts to make her happy.
Unavoidable.
Unavoidable.
There are now fears that war is unavoidable.
Molly was unavoidably delayed.
Unaware.
Unaware.
Mike seems unaware of the trouble he's causing.
She was totally unaware that she was being watched.
Unawares.
Unawares.
The question caught me completely unawares.
We had walked unawares over the border.
Unbalance.
Unbalance.
Having children can often unbalance even the closest of relationships.
He banged against the cupboard, unbalancing a pile of books.
Unbalanced.
Unbalanced.
Unbearable.
Unbearable.
The pain was almost unbearable.
He was making life unbearable for his parents. An unbearably hot day.
Unbeatable.
Unbeatable.
Carpets at unbeatable prices.
Unbeaten.
Unbeaten.
Unbecoming.
Unbecoming.
Conduct unbecoming to a teacher.
Unbeknown.
Unbeknown.
Unbeknown to him, his wife had been trying to phone him all morning.
Unbelief.
Unbelief.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
The opportunities are unbelievable.
An unbelievable talent.
The pain was unbelievable.
Acts of unbelievable cruelty.
It was unbelievable that we were expected to pay twice.
He's so lazy, it's unbelievable. An unbelievable speed. Yvonne's excuse for being late was totally unbelievable.
An unbelievably bad movie.
Unbeliever.
Unbeliever.
Unbend.
Unbend.
Unbending.
Unbending.
Unbiased.
Unbiased.
We aim to provide a service that is balanced and unbiased. An unbiased observer.
Unbidden.
Unbidden.
Unblemished.
Unblemished.
A law firm with an unblemished reputation.
Her smooth, unblemished skin.
Unblinking.
Unblinking.
His father's unblinking gaze was fixed on the fire.
Unblock.
Unblock.
Unborn.
Unborn.
An unborn child.
Unbounded.
Unbounded.
The child's unbounded energy.
Unbowed.
Unbowed.
After the fight, Ali was bloody but unbowed.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable glass.
Unbridgeable.
Unbridgeable.
The unbridgeable gulf between the rich and the poor.
Unbridled.
Unbridled.
Unbridled greed.
Unbroken.
Unbroken.
Their unbroken record of success.
A time of unbroken peace.
Unbuckle.
Unbuckle.
Unburden.
Unburden.
Unbutton.
Unbutton.
He took off his sweater and unbuttoned his shirt.
Uncalled for.
Uncalled for.
Uncanny.
Uncanny.
An uncanny coincidence.
Uncared for.
Uncared for.
The dogs looked hungry and uncared for.
Unceasing.
Unceasing.
His unceasing efforts to help the poor.
Unceremoniously.
Unceremoniously.
He grabbed her arms and hauled her unceremoniously to her feet.
Uncertain.
Uncertain.
He was uncertain how much farther he could walk.
I was uncertain about what to do next.
It's uncertain how likely this is to occur.
My whole future now seemed uncertain.
I told Colin in no uncertain terms what I thought of him.
She took a few uncertain steps forward.
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty.
Times of great change are also times of uncertainty.
There is a great deal of uncertainty about the company's future.
Life's uncertainties.
The uncertainties of old age.
Unchallengeable.
Unchallengeable.
Unchallengeable evidence.
Unchallenged.
Unchallenged.
She couldn't let a statement like that go unchallenged.
Unchanging.
Unchanging.
Uncharacteristic.
Uncharacteristic.
It's uncharacteristic of her to be late.
He was uncharacteristically quiet.
Uncharitable.
Uncharitable.
Uncharitable remarks.
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
This new project will take us into uncharted territory.
An uncharted island.
Unchecked.
Unchecked.
We cannot allow such behaviour to continue unchecked.
This habit, if left unchecked, may cause serious problems later.
Uncivilized.
Uncivilized.
Uncle.
Uncle.
I went to stay with my uncle and aunt for a few days.
Uncle Philip.
I was very excited about becoming an uncle.
Unclean.
Unclean.
An unclean spirit.
Unclean drinking water.
Unclear.
Unclear.
The terms of the contract are very unclear.
I'm rather unclear about what I'm supposed to be doing here.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom.
Unclothed.
Unclothed.
Uncoil.
Uncoil.
Slowly the snake uncoiled.
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
This sofa is so uncomfortable.
She always felt slightly uncomfortable in a hat.
An uncomfortable silence.
Uncommitted.
Uncommitted.
Uncommitted voters.
So far, they are uncommitted to his plan.
Uncommon.
Uncommon.
Violent crimes against the elderly are fortunately very uncommon.
It is not uncommon for students to have bank loans. Uncommonly.
Uncommonly.
An uncommonly cold morning.
Uncomplaining.
Uncomplaining.
Uncomprehending.
Uncomprehending.
Uncompromising.
Uncompromising.
An uncompromising opponent of democratic.
Unconcern.
Unconcern.
The government's apparent unconcern about high inflation.
Unconcerned.
Unconcerned.
Many large companies seem totally unconcerned about the environment. Unconcerned with making a profit.
Unconditional.
Unconditional.
The unconditional release of all political prisoners.
Unconditional surrender.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed.
We've received unconfirmed reports of an explosion in central London.
Unconfirmed. Unconnected.
Unconnected.
The murders are probably unconnected. Wolf's work is completely unconnected to the current study.
Unconscionable.
Unconscionable.
The war caused an unconscionable amount of suffering.
Unconscious.
Unconscious.
She was found alive but unconscious.
Levin was knocked unconscious by the impact. An unconscious need to be loved.
Doreen appeared to be unconscious of the amusement she had caused.
Unconsidered.
Unconsidered.
Unconstitutional.
Unconstitutional.
Claims that the president's action was unconstitutional.
Uncontested.
Uncontested.
After an uncontested divorce, Peggy married Charlie.
Uncontrollable.
Uncontrollable.
I felt an uncontrollable urge to scream.
Mother burst into uncontrollable sobs.
The presence of some uncontrollable children spoilt the evening.
Uncontrollable bleeding.
Uncontrollable inflation.
Uncontrolled.
Uncontrolled.
Uncontrolled weeping.
Unconventional.
Unconventional.
Unconventional political views.
Unconvinced.
Unconvinced.
I remain unconvinced that the idea will work.
Unconvincing. Unconvincing.
An unconvincing smile.
An unconvincing explanation.
Some readers will find the arguments unconvincing.
Uncooked.
Uncooked.
Always wash your hands after handling uncooked meat.
Uncool.
Uncool. Have you seen his shorts? They are just so uncool.
It was uncool to get on well with teachers.
Uncooperative.
Uncooperative.
Uncoordinated.
Uncoordinated.
Uncork.
Uncork.
Uncorroborated.
Uncorroborated.
He was convicted on the uncorroborated evidence of the alleged victim.
Uncountable. Uncountable.
Uncouple.
Uncouple.
Evidence suggests that the wagon was deliberately uncoupled.
Uncouth. Uncouth.
Uncover.
Uncover.
Customs officials uncovered a plot to smuggle weapons into the country.
Uncritical.
Uncritical.
John's mother is totally uncritical of his behaviour.
Uncrowned.
Uncrowned.
The uncrowned king of jazz.
Uncrushable.
Uncrushable.
Her uncrushable will to survive.
Unctuous.
Unctuous.
Uncurl.
Uncurl.
Uncut.
Uncut.
The uncut version of Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Uncut diamonds.
Undated.
Undated.
Undaunted.
Undaunted.
Undaunted by the enormity of the task, they began rebuilding the village.
Undecided.
Undecided.
I'm still undecided about how I'll vote.
Nadine was undecided whether or not to go to college.
Undeclared.
Undeclared.
A scandal involving undeclared payments to politicians.
An undeclared civil war.
Undelete.
Undelete.
Undemonstrative.
Undemonstrative.
Undeniable.
Undeniable.
Undeniable proof.
Under.
Under.
Wendy had hidden the box under her bed.
We sailed under the Golden Gate Bridge. Write your name under your picture.
I could see something glittering under the water. He was wearing a jacket under his coat.
Under her arm she carried a large portfolio.
In summer, we often slept under the stars.
I'd scare my mom by diving in and staying under for as long as I could.
The bench collapsed under the weight of so many people.
These toys are not suitable for children under 5.
Most of the events listed cost under £60.
I spend just under 4 hours a day seeing customers.
Children aged 12 or under must be accompanied by an adult.
The possibility of employing more staff is still under discussion.
All categories of expenditure are under review.
4 new power stations are currently under construction.
The port was coming under attack from enemy warships.
She's been under a lot of pressure at work.
He was accused of driving while under the influence of alcohol.
The operation was carried out while she was under general anaesthetic.
I'm glad to see that you have everything under control.
2 of our national parks are currently under threat from road schemes.
The doctor injected something into my arm, and I immediately felt myself going under.
I wish I'd met him under different circumstances.
The system operates well under normal conditions.
The question of whether the trade is illegal under international law.
Under the terms of the agreement, the debt will be repaid over a 20-year period.
A program initiated under President Clinton and continued under President Bush.
Under her leadership, the magazine's circulation doubled in less than a year.
Would it have been different under a Labour government?
She had a total staff of 10 working under her.
From 1847 to 1851, he served under Captain John Randolph Stokes.
At Cambridge he studied under F.R. Leavis.
The baby's records are filed under the mother's last name.
He made a few records under the name of Joe Ritchie.
Under.
Under.
Underdevelopment.
Undercooked cabbage.
An underpass.
Undergarments.
A head gardener and 3 undergardeners.
Underachiever.
Underachiever.
Underage.
Underage.
Underage drinking.
Underarm.
Underarm.
Underarm hair.
Underarm deodorants.
Underarm bowling.
Underbelly.
Underbelly.
Photographs that capture the underbelly of the United States, its poverty, its injustice, and its alienated underclass.
They needed to find the soft underbelly of their opponents.
Underbrush.
Underbrush.
Undercapitalized.
Undercapitalized.
Undercarriage.
Undercarriage.
Undercharge.
Undercharge.
The city is grossly undercharging companies to use the land.
They undercharged me by about $2.
Underclass.
Underclass.
An urban underclass who have limited access to healthcare.
Underclassman.
Underclassman.
Underclothes.
Underclothes.
Undercoat.
Undercoat.
Undercover.
Undercover.
An undercover investigation.
Undercover detectives. A cop who goes undercover to catch drug dealers.
He worked undercover in Germany and Northern Ireland.
Undercurrent.
Undercurrent.
He sensed an undercurrent of resentment among the crowd.
Undercut.
Undercut.
Online bookstores can undercut retailers by up to 30%.
Is a lack of self-confidence undercutting your performance at work?
Underdeveloped.
Underdeveloped.
A baby born with underdeveloped kidneys.
Underdog.
Underdog.
Crowds often feel sympathy for the underdog.
Underdone.
Underdone.
Underdressed.
Underdressed.
Underemployed.
Underemployed.
Underestimate.
Underestimate.
We underestimated how long it would take to get there.
Never underestimate the power of the press.
14% may be an underestimate.
Underexpose.
Underexpose.
Underfed.
Underfed.
Underfelt.
Underfelt.
Underfloor heating.
Underfloor heating.
Underfoot.
Underfoot.
The wet wood is very slippery underfoot.
Underfund.
Underfund.
Our education system is seriously underfunded.
Underfunding in the National Health Service.
Undergarment.
Undergarment.
Undergo.
Undergo.
The country has undergone massive changes recently.
He has been released from prison to undergo medical treatment in the United States.
She has been undergoing tests since Monday.
Teachers should be expected to undergo mid-career training and development.
Undergraduate.
Undergraduate.
Second-year undergraduates.
Underground.
Underground.
An underground passage.
The car park is underground. An underground terrorist organisation.
The underground press.
This animal spends most of its life underground.
Nuclear waste buried deep underground.
The ANC was forced to go underground when its leaders were arrested.
Undergrowth.
Undergrowth.
Underhand.
Underhand.
They did it all in such an underhand way.
He's been involved in some underhand dealings.
Underlay.
Underlay.
Underlie.
Underlie.
The one basic principle that underlies all of the party's policies.